Hi, I'm Ken Jr. and welcome to Train World TV. Here you'll find the latest and greatest in model trains. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. And if you're new to our channel, we're glad you're here, and I invite you to click the subscribe button and hit that bell notification so you'll never miss a video. Now, we'd also love to send you exclusive deals and special announcements that you won't find anywhere else. So be sure to sign up for our emails, TW Text, and stay connected with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Now, you can find all the links in the description box below or trainworld.com. And without further ado, enjoy today's video.
Hello and good evening, everybody, and welcome to Train World TV. And we are back again. The band is back again. We have Matt Stern from Bachmann Trains on a special edition, and our usual suspect, Tony Cook, Model Railroad News, Model Train Resource, HO Collector, and I can't even keep up with the long list of shows and everyone he's helping out in the industry. Just a ton of fun, Tony.
You see the shirt I have on today?
Kansas City.
Well, you know, because Taylor Swift is running around Kansas City with Travis Kelce a lot, and he's showing her all the big sights, and I've seen pictures of him in his convertible, and so I figure at some point she's going to say, hey, doesn't Tony Cook live near Kansas City? I'd love to see his train collection. And they're going to show up, so I want to be dressed appropriately.
Well, she was actually close to Philly and New York.
I was going to say, I think she was over your way last week.
Yep, yeah. I was very upset she didn't stop by the store to see the trains, but who knows? Maybe she could stop on some later day. You never know.
There you go.
This is you extending your invitation, right?
Yes. She is put on notice that if she ever wants to stop by, she is more than welcome to. But and actually the Kelsey as well, because we actually have had a lot of football players stop by Trainland. The Jets used to play by Hofstra. And a little fun fact, Tony, one of the medicine doctors was huge into trains. Yeah. And he would always come by and bring all the Jets players into the store and get them into trains.
That's awesome.
So, but then they moved and out of Hofstra, so then that connection was gone.
Well, and speaking of Philly, we've got the man himself from Bachmann Trains today.
Yes.
Matt Stern. So much stuff. I forget, I don't even remember the reason now. It had to have been, it was a group of announcements, I guess, out of the NMRA show there in mid-August that, of course, as I always do, as I'm sitting there having my coffee in the morning, email Ken Jr. going, hey, see what Matt Stern's doing because I want to talk about this, and this. I can't believe all this cool stuff.
Yeah, we got a lot of exciting things in this announcement.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff, and I saw a lot of comments. People excited for the actually. Maybe I shouldn't say it. Should I say it before, or well, we'll let you roll with it. But a lot of people excited about a lot of product that you have coming up. So,
all right, well, I guess let's get into it then.
All right, let's share this screen here with this nice Bachmann presentation. All right.
Yeah. So. The big front cover announcement, as you put it, is our Dreyfus Hudson. when we brought out the standard J3A Hudson, I think there was a lot of speculation that we would do this. And of course, it's kind of a no-brainer. It's just such a cool-looking locomotive. If you're going to do one type of Hudson, you got to then follow with this.
And boy, that J3A is a beauty.
Oh, absolutely.
And I know Bachmann's one of those lines I get very excited about. I mean, I grew up with Bachmann as a kid. I mean, it is such a great product line to me that I always feel like as I'm reviewing this, I'm like, okay, I'm really excited by this, but let me get a little check here, reality check. And after I finished that Hudson review and how much I liked it, it's the cover of December's Model Railroad News. I started looking all over YouTube to see, if anybody had posted reviews. And I think I even mentioned in the review, that's all I heard was, wow, this is a spectacular steam locomotive. Wow, it operates great. It looks good. This is a fantastic model. So it's not just me and my easily overexcited self for trains, as Ken knows well, but it's a fantastic model. So this news of a Dreyfus is just, wow, how cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we're extremely happy with how the J3A turned out, and obviously we're very happy with all the positive reviews it's gotten. We're going to be packing a lot of the same features from that locomotive into this new version. So it's going to have the same great drive capability. It's going to have the same fantastic sounds from TCS Wow Sound. And as you can see here, we're actually going to be offering it in two different versions. We're going to have the box-box driver version and the Scullin driver version. Now, in retrospect, I probably should have come prepared with pictures of how these different wheels look. But I don't know, Tony, if maybe you could describe how the difference between them.
Isn't it the side the wheel faces? I don't think, I forget what the Hudson was just one way, but the box or the Scullin drivers is the wheel faces here. Let me see. Oh, not that.
We got to have Tony reach into his bag of tricks.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
And I think I forget which. There we go. I have the review up from. I think the reference is to the face or the design on the driver wheels, is it not?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
What a beautiful model. This is regular, and I forget which is this one, because this only came one way, I believe.
So I believe. Okay, now you're testing my.
I was going to say, yeah. Wow.
I want to say this. I want to say that this is the box, and I might be totally wrong here. I'm not a New York Central modeler myself. I'm going to go right out there and say it. So that product development might be, let's see if I see chewing my ear off on that one tomorrow. But for those of you in the know, we are going to be producing both wheel styles, and it's going to be a really nice model. We're very excited, and
that's the box.
Is on this one. Okay. I thought.
All right. Yeah. See, I knew that. But yeah, we're very excited for that, and we think it's going to be a great companion for this locomotive as well.
And as before, the train control systems DCC and sound system is in there. Like in the review, I take the tender apart and show all the stuff that's inside there. And Matt, wow, the speed on this thing, by the numbers I had this creeping at 0.5 miles an hour.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, the speed range is fantastic, and part of that is it's our mechanism, and it's also the level of control that you get from the TCS decoder.
The TCS, yeah, and I agree. I think that really does something for it. But wow, yeah, its low end was just mesmerizing.
Yeah, no, it's a nice one. Like I said, we're very happy about it. We got a lot of comments when that did come out saying, can you please make the streamlined Dreyfus? Can you maybe even make the two different wheel variations, and we're happy to deliver with both of those. Beautiful. So moving on from steam, we're going to move into the diesel era here. If I want to move to the next slide. Now this is something that we've heard some feedback. Oh, we weren't really expecting this. This is something. It's not something that's ever been done before in ready to run consumer HO scale, and this is the GE C36-7. For any modelers who've been around in the hobby for a while, you might be aware of Bachmann China, one of our, one of the other companies within the Bachmann universe, has produced the Chinese version of the C36-7. A lot of these were purchased for international use in reality. And being good, completely forward about it. Of course, we saw that we knew it was a U.S. manufacturer. We knew it was a U.S. model locomotive design, and we thought, it's kind of a no-brainer to bring this really nice-looking model and give it to the U.S. modelers. But the more we looked into it, the more we realized, oh my goodness, there's a lot of differences between the Chinese version and the U.S. versions. The cab, for instance, has a different configuration. The frame itself is actually shorter on the Chinese version. So we're not actually going to be using that locomotive and just painting it in U.S. colors. So this is going to be a brand new locomotive, and it's going to be based exactly on the one of the two variations that you saw running in the U.S. This is the one that ran more primarily on East Coast roads with Norfolk and Western, Norfolk Southern, CSX Conrail. We've got 3 of those roads announced in this release. And then we're also doing Union Pacific 588, which is, it was actually a C30-7 that was converted to a C36-7. So it's a little bit different than the others, but the body type is almost identical to these. And we wanted to be able to bring something out in this release to the West Coast modelers as well.
That should be that's awesome. And yeah, it's the first time. And Ken, I know you're going to ask, do I have one of those Chinese C36?
Oh, wow.
There it is.
Wow.
There it is. And it is a beautiful model. I mean,
it's a really nice one.
Yeah. If this is the level of detail and such, I think it's an ND5, but there's a lot of differences between the two. But I remember getting this, almost 10 years ago, and was just amazed at how awesome. And at the time thinking, wow, I wish Bachmann would make that C36. So yeah, that's a sharp piece.
Tony's dream has come true.
And
that's what we're all about, making Tony's dreams come true.
And yeah, the UP, as you say, it's a rebuilt. Like Mopac had a lot of the late C36s that had that big, almost Alco looking box behind the cab. But there are some of these that's that later numbering too in that 500 series. But awesome and a good. Again, this -7 series came out. It competed with EMD's -2s, came out in the mid-70s, and the C36s and C30s are something that have been getting more attention in the hobby, and they've really been overlooked for years. So this was a big surprise on this announcement, and awesome to see.
Yeah,
it's fully loaded, right? I see the DCC Tsunami 2.
Yep, exactly. So we got soundtrack Tsunami 2. It's going to have, directional lighting is a fairly standard feature, but it's going to have Rule 17 dimming, and the Tsunami 2 sound system it comes with a massive selection of sounds that'll really, really bring the locomotive to life.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And as with all of our locomotives, it's going to come with our EasyMate Mark II couplers, and just something to note, because we do get this question a lot. Will it run on DC systems? Yes, it will run on DC. All of our DCC locomotives are dual mode, which means that the DCC and sound will function, not the DCC, but the sounds will function when responding to a DC controller as well. So it'll be a really nice versatile model, and it's I think going to fill a gap that, like you said, has been very mysteriously in the era for 1980s to 90s modelers.
Right.
Very nice.
And Matt, I've seen some questions coming in about your steam engines. Any chance to get smoke in them, or?
No, so we don't offer smoke. I mean, one of the basic reasons is there's just not enough room in there with the mechanism with the DCC decoder and all that.
Right.
So I mean, we have some steam locomotives without DCC in our range. We have our 060 and our 262, but no, for the big ones, so they're not offered with smoke.
Okay, all right, not a problem.
So yeah, that's our HO scale locomotive announcements. So moving on to rolling stock, we're sticking primarily in the modern era for this release. We're starting with the Trinity 5161. This is probably one of the most prolific hoppers in the U.S. today. They've been around since about 1995, and you can see them on pretty much any Class 1 railroad. We're going with CSX, BNSF, Canadian Pacific, with the Sioux Line marks on it, and Norfolk Southern for this release. And I think it'll be a really nice model, really nice addition to the market. We haven't really had a hopper from this generation in our line until this point.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a nice addition and should be well received.
Yeah, this is you can't go out rail fanning and not see a string of these Trinities these days. That this is a nice, and again, a good update from. I think the next newest is that ACF center flow that's been in the line since the 70s. So nice to see a new modern 3-bay center flow like this hit the line.
Yeah. And one thing I should note about it is that these are very early preliminary drawings that we have here. The trucks are not correct on this. We're aware of that. They're not the trucks that you see on this are not the trucks that are going to appear on the model. They will have the correct prototypical trucks for these cars.
Nobody panic.
So if you want to move on to the next one, we have another fairly modern car, not quite as modern. These have been around for actually since the 60s, but they continue to show up every now and then on trains even today. That's the GATX 4180 Air Slide. This is a car that was used for, I think it was mainly grain hauling, right, Tony?
Yeah, it's General American, came out, as you say, in the 60s. Its big thing was the 2 bays and the way they could load it. It had like the pressure stuff to get the stuff out of the car easier. And today, as you say, I still see them on oil can trains.
These
are the buffer cars. Back and forth. So, I mean, an amazingly common piece of railroading equipment from early second generation diesel era to today.
Yeah, and we tried to replicate that in the schemes that we're releasing too. So the Union Pacific one is going to be the very early kind of chromy silver Union Pacific. And then from there we've got the 70s Burlington Northern, the 80s to early 90s CSX scheme, and then we've got the GACX reporting mark scheme as well, which actually, amazingly, I've actually caught some of those on freight trains within the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this in an HO scale before. I could be wrong, but this should do very well.
We're very excited about this car, and it'll also be a great companion car to the 5161 as well.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that UP will be so sharp. I can't remember if that was it's like Albina something shops did the paint on those, and they're almost like a chromy finish that'll be an eye catcher. No,
absolutely.
No Kansas City, Tony.
No Kansas City. Sorry. Maybe in the future.
Very neat.
So backdating a little bit here. So we released our coil cars last year with the more modern rounded hoods, and those cars have been very well received. I think a lot of people got a kick out of being able to open the hood and use the loads and put them in different scenes, like if you're unloading or loading or running them without the hoods, like you sometimes see.
That's a nice paint scheme.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was just
Milwaukee Road too.
The B&O one's really nice. But that was the modern design. We had a lot of requests for the older versions as well that people could run in their first generation diesel trains or their early second generation diesel trains. So that's what we've done with these. These come with the angled hoods, which was the original design for these types of cars. And like you said, we've got the really nice B&O scheme here. We're doing Milwaukee Road, Reading, and Rock Island, which I also think is a really sharp scheme as well.
Yeah, I love that black to rock. Yeah, when this announcement hit, it's like, oh wow, that's cool. And the B&O, I've got a slide of that B&O with the cushion coil and everything. All 4 of those are awesome looking. It's a great car. Ken, have you busted one of these open and looked at it in the store with the? It's got the loads in it and everything. I'm sure you saw the review. I reviewed the first round of them and showed the hoods off and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
they look really neat, really sharp, and these paint schemes now are going to really do well.
Yeah,
something unique and different.
Yeah, they're prototypical, but they'll bring a nice pop of color to your train. And just like the later versions that we released previously, these are going to come with the exact same features inside. So you can remove the hoods. It'll come with 6 coils included. You can have it running without the hoods, with the coils, without the coils. You can have the loading and unloading scenes. It's going to be a really nice, versatile car.
Cool. Very neat. Matt, before we go forward, Anthony wants you guys to make the ACS 64 Amtrak Harry Potter wrap.
Yeah.
So
That would be cool.
Pretty cool.
That would be very cool. It was around for way too short of a period of time, for how cool they looked. But yeah, no, I agree that would be very cool.
Very cool. All right.
So so this is our 52-foot wheel flat car with wheel load. This is another car that I don't know if there have been that many models of this type of maintenance of way vehicle produced in HO in the past. This comes with a load of wheels that are removable. I actually have a sample of one right here. I'll be careful here not to. So the wheels are completely removable. They sit in snugly when the train's running, but unfortunately that doesn't
like
work.
That word, snugly.
Going from the office to here. So I have half the load in here.
That looks really good, Matt.
Are each of the wheels individual, or are they a molded piece?
Yes. So these are all individual wheels,
Oh,
and
wow,
they're all going to come in this oxide brown finish. And it's not going to fill the whole car because you didn't always see these running full. So you're going to have a few on this side and a few on this side. And it's got some really nice paint schemes too. So this one here, actually, since I'm holding it up, this is actually one that ran. This road number ran, I believe, into the early 2000s, which these lasted as maintenance of way equipment typically does for a lot longer than a car like this would in standard freight service. But we also have some from the earlier era of these cars where you might find them more typically. Like this is the Santa Fe Silver.
Oh, that's
right here.
Nice. Yeah.
This is actually probably my favorite of the four of them because this has a really nice the way the deck is a different color really makes it pop. And this is how it looks without the load on it. So it's just, you've got these inserts here. Load just fit, the wheels fit right in. They're all individual, so you can, again, just like the coil car, you can run it loaded, unloaded, partially loaded, and you can create maintenance of way yard scenes with it as well.
And those wheels could work in any other truck, like if you want to use them on a different.
You could use them.
Like a replacement wheel.
Yeah, so they're plastic wheels. Okay. So these come with metal wheels on the actual trucks, as all of our freight cars do now. But you could certainly use them if you wanted to.
Cool, interesting.
Yeah, that's a nice, as you say, that's a uncommon model, but a very common prototype in maintenance of way trains.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you guys, I know you have that boom crane and tender has been in the line over the years and other pieces. So yeah, that's a nice add to those kind of things.
And
yeah, it'll look really nice in consist with those.
And the couplers are the EasyMate Mark II.
Yep. Yeah, EasyMate Mark II. That's our standard coupler now. So that'll work with any other coupler from another manufacturer, as long as it's a knuckle coupler design like that.
Awesome. Very neat. And we got a good question going back to the Hudson, the Dreyfus. Someone was asking about the timeline or a release date. Do you know, like estimate?
We're still in the design phase for that right now. We should have artwork coming up in our 2024 catalog. So it's not going to be immediate, but we're definitely shooting for sometime later in 2024.
Okay. And
keep up on Facebook with Absolutely. Bachmann, because Matt treats me every Monday to New Model Monday. He showed those coil cars in the last week, but I'm always getting these sneak peeks on Monday where he'll share some of this stuff. So yeah, that's a good way to kind of see how things are progressing along. That he shared the BL2, all the stuff as it comes along. We get a sneak peek on Bachmann's Facebook.
Absolutely.
Very neat. And a lot of people asking for different paint schemes and road names for these wheel loads. So you're going to have to keep on making them. A lot of people are asking for New Haven. Train Jack is asking, the C36-7 is not on our website, which did you guys send out pricing on those, or?
Those ones, I believe, were still TBA when our prices were announced. They're kind of in a similar stage to the Hudson right now in development.
Okay.
So they may not be on your site yet.
Okay. So Train Jack, once we get the pricing from Bachmann, we'll get them up and loaded, and you could start the pre-ordering from there for sure. And they want Southern in the wheel load car.
That's good to hear. We'll keep all these road names in mind for the future. Or we're always happy to have suggestions.
A lot of people are excited about these cars. These are pretty.
It's a neat piece, I mean,
it is.
yeah.
It's a car that you can, I guess this is an example of why people are asking for so many, because you could find them anywhere in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
I think that wraps up our HO scale rolling stock section.
Cool.
I believe, actually, that's right. Okay. Couldn't remember which one came next. So yes, the sand bumper. This is a new addition to our Easy Track range. This is going to be part of our gray roadbed nickel silver rail series, and it's replicating the kind of bumper that you would find pre-1900 for the most part. This is something that'll work well with our old time 440s and our old time box cars and tank cars and stuff like that. And it again is something that kind of, I think, fills a little bit of a void in the market. I don't know of any other bumpers of this style that are currently available.
Not of that style. No, yeah, that's a nice piece to be added. Yeah. And
we found that there seems to be, which is interesting. There seems to be an increasing level of interest for pre-1900 railroading. So we're very happy to bring this to the market for modelers of that era, and we're excited to see what they're going to do with them.
Well, that's pretty cool.
And so I think the next couple, I'm just going to breeze over these because this is really Doug Blaine's territory. So
he gets the fun stuff.
But just to keep it brief, we are introducing a new train set officially licensed by the Elf on the Shelf.
Cool.
And it's going to come with the 060 steam locomotive, gondola, boxcar, and bobber caboose, all in a really cool, really vibrant paint schemes. I think it'll look fantastic under a Christmas tree. And one of the really neat features about this is that it comes with an actual little elf as well. It's about this tall.
And that's this season, right? I think I asked you this about a month ago on pictures and announcement things, and that's this
is probably going to be, it's going to be arriving this winter more than likely, but it's probably not going to be in time for this Christmas. But it's something to definitely, if you're already thinking about, what do you want for next Christmas to have as part of your decorations, this should be arriving earlier in 2024.
Does it come with the shelf?
It comes with it doesn't come with a shelf now.
It does.
To build the shelf.
It does. The shelf is a 40-foot gondola. It looks like.
There you go. Yeah,
that is the shelf for the elf. Yeah, that's cool.
Tony, I just want to let you know, I asked Doug when he first considered this project if they could make it Tony on the Shelf Express, but he turned it down, and
I don't know what the Elf on the Shelf people would have to say about that.
He didn't like that idea, so sorry, Tony. I tried to make it happen.
Thanks for asking. That'd have been cool.
We'll put that in our future ideas box. So again, sticking with There were Thomas pages. I might have omitted those actually, because that's actually much more Doug's area. He's going to talk about those on Thomas Tuesday, and I don't want to steal his thunder for that. So if we come across those, I think they were supposed to be next, but if we come across those, we can just again briefly go over those. So I guess
don't mess with the Thomas fandom, Matt. You don't want to mess with a new announcement and switch that in.
It's not Thomas fandom I'm worried about. It's Doug. I don't want to step on Doug's territory.
When is Doug's show? I know it's on Tuesdays. Is it every Tuesday? Is it once a month on Tuesday? When do you do that, Ken?
Usually the first Tuesday of every month, but Doug was at the New York Toy Fair, so he wasn't able to. But next Tuesday.
Okay.
So we can't have Matt steal his thunder.
Exactly. I got to leave something for him to talk about.
That's it.
So moving into N scale, this is one that I know a lot of people are actually very excited about, and it kind of once again demonstrates this renewed interest in pre 1900 railroading. This is our 19th century 460. We many years ago had a 19th century steam locomotive in our N scale line, but it's been a long time, and we wanted to bring something new and something that's going to be up to the caliber of today's modeling standard into that line. So this is what we're doing. We're doing the 460. It's going to be somewhat based on predominantly based on the Thatcher Perkins, which is at the B&O Museum in Baltimore, which is somewhat of a ubiquitous design. It looks very similar to many other locomotives of that era, and it's going to come with some really nice paint schemes. We're going to have the Central Pacific's Bison. We're going to have a Union Pacific number 1010. We're, of course, going to have the Thatcher Perkins. Now, it's not actually going to be labeled Thatcher Perkins on the model because it's the paint scheme that it's actually, I believe it's the paint scheme it's in right now at the museum, which is an authentic historic paint scheme that it wore, doesn't actually have the name on it. I think that came later, but this is the paint scheme that it will be in. And then we're also offering a Pennsylvania Railroad version as well.
With DCC and sound in scale in a little bitty 460. Wow, I'm very eager to see it. Wow.
Yeah, no, we're excited about this one, and we know there are a lot of modelers who are excited about it as well, which we're very happy about.
I don't think anyone in N scale has really done like a old time locomotive. Well,
I mean, Bachmann Bachmann did have
wow.
the little kind of like the Golden Spike era type stuff, but yeah, it's see something new.
That's pretty interesting. Wow,
nice.
And we have some old time cars in our N scale line that right now don't have any locomotive that's really era appropriate to pull them. So again, this is something that's going to work well with that rolling stock.
These are always such fun pieces because they're so little. I mean, and I'm not talking in scale. I mean, the prototype. I mean, they would be little. That it's amazing. These are such fun models.
Yeah, and even in this photo, which is not a photo of the Thatcher Perkins, but a similar design. You can see the roof profile there. It's noticeably lower than the heavyweight baggage car behind it.
Very neat.
Very neat, yeah.
And I think you have an old time locomotive in HO, if I'm not mistaken.
So we have the 4-4 American in HO, yeah.
Yeah, there's one engine, and I questioned Rich on this last week. I said, are my pre-orders wrong on this? Everybody was going crazy, Tony. I gotta get you the number, but it's like one of the most popular pre-ordered items up for Bachmann. And
in the HO?
In the HO, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. And Rich was kind of saying that I guess no one's really done that paint scheme before, and it was just so popular. And so there definitely is a lot of interest in this old time series for sure.
Yeah. We're starting to offer a few more paint schemes that haven't been offered in the past, like you said, for the HO 440. We got the Old Colony one. I don't think anybody's done Old Colony before in consumer HO. So yeah, it's definitely a growing market. We're really excited about it.
Very neat.
So we're actually going to jump forward now to the 21st century with the next one here, and this is our N-scale version of our SCV42 Charger, which is the Canadian Via Rail version. This is going to be a really nice model. Tony, you've reviewed our N-scale SC44s, so you'll know the level of features that come in these models. This is going to come with everything that the HO one has, just like the SC44. Which so it's going to be a real action-packed locomotive. It's going to come with TCS wow sound, directional lighting, Rule 17 dimming, like it says there. Operating ditch lights. I believe it's going to come with the operating, we call the auxiliary light they have in the middle. I actually have the HO.
Really? In N scale, wow.
Yeah, so no samples, unfortunately, at this point, because it's still early in the game, but I have an HO one just to demonstrate here.
Look at Tony's face zooming in with interest.
Yeah, the HO model on this was just amazing. And when this got announced, my phone started blowing up with a couple of my reviewers that are in-scale guys saying, I got to have this. I got to have this. I want to review this. I want to be first to have this. And it's like, whoa, slow down.
So here's the HO one. And this is a great example for what the N-scale one is going to look like, because it really will be this. As I'm sure you know, Tony, and Ken, you've probably seen our HO or N-scale SC44s as well. Yeah. It really is just a scaled down version of this. We don't leave anything out.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
And this is the auxiliary light down here, which only comes on the Canadian version here.
Wow.
And one of the cool things about this is it actually comes with, which the N-scale one will as well, it comes with Canadian-specific announcements on it. So it has, they're all actual corridor service announcement or numbers for the line that goes between, I believe it goes between Windsor, Ontario, and Quebec City. And the announcements play in either French first and then English, or in English first and then French on the real trains.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
Matt,
this was next level stuff when this came out in HO. So yeah, the N has got, I've had lots of, wow, I can't wait to see this.
Yeah, no, we're excited to see it in N, and it's a long train too. So we just got our first samples of the cars in HO as well, which actually I have one of those. Might be a good time to bring it out. So this is one of the first painted samples we have of the passenger cars that go with it.
Oh, nice.
And jumping the gun a little bit here, but no surprise, the next page is going to be these in N scale. We're bringing these out in N scale as well.
wow. These are beautiful.
And it's a 6-car train, which in reality is a modestly sized train, but in HO scale, it's a long train. And in N scale, it's going to look really nice sneaking around somebody's layout.
Wow, those are fantastic.
And it's totally unique and different.
Yeah. So these are the Siemens Venture cars. They're from the same family series as the Charger locomotives. And in HO, we announced these in Amtrak Midwest and in Via Rail colors, and they're actually different cars entirely. They have the same basic body shell, and they have the same basic features, but they have design features that are specific to each railroad to meet their needs, and we've done that with the models too. So,
nice.
With the Amtrak Midwest ones, you'll see different configurations than you will with the Via Rail one, like this one here.
And Matt, people are asking questions about the interior lights or seats or passengers for the HO and N scale. If you could talk about, I guess, what's on the inside, if it is lighted or not, I'm not sure.
Sure. So all these cars are going to come with interior lighting out of the box. They're going to have full interiors, which I'm going to try and show here. It may not show up very well, but there you go. You got the full interior in there. And they're actually, they have different interiors depending on the configuration of the car. So this is a business class car, and this has the, let's see if I can, I don't know if I can get a good angle on it, but it's got the 2x1, which is typical for business for seating. And then you've got the standard cars, which are the coach class cars, which are the standard 2x2.
Oh, really nice.
I got to tell you, your new tooling and manufacturing process over the past couple of years, I mean, it's just unbelievable stuff. Those cars look beautiful.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
We're very happy with these. And another cool feature on the Amtrak ones, just while we're on the topic of these, is they're going to come with working marker lights, which is something that we've done that before. We do that with the Am fleets, but something a little different we've done with this is they're actually going to have a switch underneath. Now again, this is where the features are a little bit different. Although I think this car does have that roof feature. Under one of the vent hatches here, there's going to be a switch where you can turn on or off the marker lights. So you can run it just like the prototype without being on every car. Just have it on the last car.
Oh, nice. That's very nice.
And Dom is asking, does that have a observation car?
No. So this train doesn't have an observation car. What it has is a cab car on the other end, which is a standard coach class car. But then on the end of it, it actually has a cab. Almost identical to the cab on the front of the train on the Charger.
Oh, wow.
And we do have a sample of that too. Unfortunately, it's as you said, we've had some things out at the Toy Fair in New York, so it's not available to show right now because it's coming back from that. But it looks very sharp, and it really rounds up the train nicely.
And those will be in both HO and N. That in kind of
the whole consist is going to be available in both HO and N. Now, it's not going to be available as a set together. You will have to buy it all individually, but everything to make the full consist that you see in real life will be available.
Which I actually like that better. I know other companies may release them different times or as a package. Some people just price point, or they want to cut back or maybe grow at a different time. I think selling it separately kind of leaves all options for the consumer, and I think that's a really smart way to do it.
Right. If you want to spread it out over time to kind of help your budget, that helps you do that a little bit more. And actually,
Right.
if you have a layout that's not quite suitable for a 6-car train, you can make it a 2-car train or a 3-car train, and it'll still look fantastic.
Or you could be like Tony and just collect them all.
Absolutely. So we won't complain at all.
And you've got the easy track with the concrete ties, which is
Yes.
for
Yes.
a lot of this. This isn't necessarily high speed rail like Acela, but most of this stuff is running on that kind of track. So
Right, like the Amtrak
that's it.
Midwest ones, as I'm sure you know, Tony, they've upgraded a lot of that track for 110.
Yeah.
And they've done that with concrete ties. So our concrete tie easy track is a great solution for modeling that in HO scale.
Very nice.
Very cool.
And how close are the HO to delivering on the coaches, the new Siemens coaches?
They're pretty close now. I'm going to say we don't have a specific date as we do for we really don't have a specific date for anything that we can give, but it's going to be most likely early 2024. We've been making sure that we can make these cars as prototypical as possible. So we really want to make sure we get them right. And that it may have taken a little bit longer than we were initially hoping for, but the end product is going to be a better product.
So Matt and Tony, our sales team sends me like product requests or recommendations, whatever, and ask me about it a lot of times. And the number one request for Bachmann is the bright line. And it's not, I don't think it's the same exact mold, but it's very unique, similar looking, and they want to see that paint scheme, man.
No, we've gotten a lot of requests for Brightline too. It's something that we're certainly open to exploring. Like you said, there are a lot of differences with those. The locomotives have an entirely different cab. Not to mention you have 2 locomotives per train. So we don't right now have a dummy version. So there'd be a lot of things we'd have to do that would be a little bit different for it. But it's something we're certainly open to exploring in the future.
It's fun, exciting stuff modern passenger car stuff in North America. I mean, new stuff we haven't really had since Superliners and maybe the Genesis Amtrak units, the P4042s. I mean, to have this new stuff again of new cars, new locomotives, it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, as a modern modeler, this is making my dreams come true.
Yeah.
And the story is being promoted big time. Like I see it in the news all the time. I think it's Miami to or Orlando now, or they're connecting all
and
of
they're
Florida.
They're building it over to heading over to maybe
Tampa, or trying to get it over to Tampa. But it's pretty amazing. It's a very cool, unique story. So
and they have a very cool paint scheme too.
Yes. It's Miami centric. It's got that flair.
Yeah, so on the next slide, I believe it's going to be the cars that we just talked about. So just to expand on that a little bit, so we've got the 2 coach cars, we've got the 2 business class cars. The one I have here, the HO one, is business class, which has a slightly darker gray, and then you can't really see it in the artwork there. So I'm going to try and bring it up here, but it has the business class designation written here, which looks really nice, really sharp, really sharply applied.
There's a lot of detail on that car.
Oh, they're amazing cars. Now, Matt, tell us I see on the sheet, you've got DCC sound on board for cab car, light, and sound control. So again, it's not a powered car. It's like a push-pull thing. So it's not got a drive in it, but it will have a decoder. So would it be separate? Explain how it works. Yeah. How will it go?
It's going to have a decoder in it, but it's not going to be motorized. So you can't buy that and then have that run the train. You have to have the charger to run with it. But you can control certain sounds that you would expect from a cab car. You're not going to have motor control sounds or anything like that. You're going to have things like the horn, the bell, brake squeal, stuff like that, and of course the station announcements as well. And you'll also have fully DCC control of the lighting as well, like the headlight, the ditch light, roll 17, marker lights, and the auxiliary light as well.
I mean, impressive stuff. That's amazing. A DCC equipped passenger car. How cool is that?
Very cool.
Is there pricing or anything on the locomotives or the passenger cars for N scale yet, or is that still to be determined?
I think that may be available at this point. Ken, you might have that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did a email on it this week, but yeah, we did. Pricing is up.
Okay.
Yes, it as usual, Bachmann pricing is pretty affordable and in line, but yeah, it's up and active listed. Very cool.
So on the next page, we're going to stay in this same category here. We're doing the Midwest ones in N scale as well. And like I said, with the HO ones, they are the same car family, but they are different cars. They have different configurations. They have some different detail features, and we are replicating them as they are in real life with the different features. So it's not going to be one body scheme fits all. So we're offering the coach scheme or the coach cars right now. I believe they just introduced some of the business cars in real life recently, but we're trying to keep pace with something here that's the real ones coming out as we're doing the models. So
Yeah.
at the time of development for these, it was just the coach cars that were running. So that's what we're releasing right now. And they're going to be really nice cars. And what's also cool about these is while they've been delivering and building the additional cars to fill out the train sets in reality, they've been running them mixed in with AM fleets.
Mhm.
So you can have a set of our AM fleets as well and run these with those mixed together in the same consist.
Exactly. Oh yeah, I see those all the time. And it's funny you say how these are coming out right now and you guys are making a model of them. I think I was 10 years old when your first Amfleet came out in the 70s, and it was brand new at the time, on the rails. So it was like, wow, here's this brand new passenger car on Amtrak, and I had an HO model up from Bachmann. And here it is a few years later, and you're doing it again with these cars. And yes, these, I think the business cars, this is Chicago to St. Louis and St. Louis to Kansas City trains that we see these on a lot. And yeah, they are mixed with the Amfleet and the Bombardier cars as well. So yeah, you easily can mix all these together. But wow, this again is, I think it's such a cool paint scheme too. The new Amtrak looks they're just all very striking.
Yeah, and to build on what you were saying about where they run, they also actually run as far north as Milwaukee and Wisconsin.
Oh yeah.
And they actually run all the way out to Michigan as well, I believe.
And everybody has been going Amtrak crazy over the past year or two. It's just the most popular road name. People just want to collect all the passenger cars and everything. Everybody's just loving Amtrak, and these paint schemes are really cool, unique. It's really sleek looking. So,
yeah, I think it's an exciting time to model Amtrak. There's so much new stuff that they're bringing out in reality. We're seeing the transition from the P42s to the Chargers, and the AM fleets to the venture cars, and assume the Aero cars as well. And I think that's been inspiring a lot of modelers, and it certainly inspired us to, like you said, Tony, keep up with the times and try and bring out what we're seeing in reality today.
Yeah, they're amazing cars. When I remember when you ask on these, I'd ask my guys for pictures. I said, hey, send me all the pictures you've got on the venture cars. And of course, like, who's making a model? Well, I can't say. Just send me the pictures. And you use the picture in one of the announcements or catalog things.
We did, yeah.
It was really cool. But yeah, I remember asking that, and it's like, okay, but I can't tell you, but just send me the pictures.
So I think we're going to move into N-scale freight cars next. So so the coil car that we introduced in HO last year is coming to N-scale with the rounded hoods, but we're not just doing that. We're also bringing out the angled hood car at the same time. So N-scale modelers, you'll be able to mix and match the cars just as you see them in reality from the get-go here. And just like in the HO one, they're going to have removable hoods, and they're going to come with the 6 removable coil loads as well. So you can have all those nice scenes, different configurations. You can mix and match hoods if you have multiple cars, kind of like you see in reality. And this is going to be, I think, a really awesome addition to the N-scale line.
Oh, absolutely, both of them, yeah.
Very neat.
And actually, while we're on the topic of the coil cars here, I realized about 4 pages too late that as we were going through the HO one, I actually have a sample here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And this is this is obviously just an unpainted version here, but you can see the different coils, coil or hood style, and see how it comes right off. It's got a nicely detailed
Oh, cool.
cradle in there for the coils. You got 3 on this side, 3 under the other one, and it just fits right back on. It's pretty snug. You can turn it upside down. It'll, for the most part, stay on. And got some.
Don't
nice
try that at home.
with the loads inside. But now you got the brake wheel there, and you can see the underbody as well.
That's
So,
nice.
yeah,
Very
good
nice
car.
car.
and this will be the same style that will be available for the, I believe it's the bottom 2 on the page for the N scale one as well.
They're fun to run because you can mix those, as you see them in trains, the hoods get mixed around. So it's not always like a BNSF car with BNSF hoods. The hoods get mixed up. Sometimes
Right.
there's no hoods on them, so it can make a really eye-catching set of about, a half dozen of these together with mixing some of the hoods, taking some of the hoods off, and having the coils showing in the loads. That they're fun cars.
Yeah, absolutely. So, sorry, go on.
Sorry, Matt. Question about the Amtrak passenger cars you just showed. Those have interior lightings as well.
Yeah,
HO
so
and N scale.
yeah, all of our Avenger cars in HO and N scale are going to come with interior lighting and fully furnished interiors.
Awesome. Very cool.
Nice.
Thank you.
So yeah, so with the coil cars, we're going to have BNSF and CSX as our modern roads, and Conrail and Norfolk Southern as our older ones. The Conrail ones, I would assume in reality were probably repainted from Reading or from one of the Conrail predecessors, but they did appear in that scheme as well. So we're also bringing our chemical tank cars to N scale. These were announced last year in HO, and they are actually the HO ones are available now in shipping. We're offering a couple of the same paint schemes, but we're also offering a couple of new ones as well that aren't in the HO line. The ones that are in both are the Diamond Chemicals and the Hooker Chemicals, and the ones that are new are the Penn Salt and the Engelhard. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. These again are going to be really nice cars. This is new tooling. We actually do have unpainted samples of these too, but again, these are out at a show right now, so I wasn't able to bring them to show for this. But I've had a look at them, and they're really nice detailed samples, and I think these are going to make a nice addition to any 50s to 70s era freight train. Or later, what? It's your railroad.
I mean, those are really nice cars. I just ran the review. I did the Diamond Chemicals and I think the Hooker HO ones in either this current or the one before Model Railroad News. And I'd found, did you see those vintage pictures of some Diamond Chemical plant that I found from when the cars were new?
Those are some fantastic finds.
Yeah, they have a whole string of those white Diamond Chemicals from like the 50s when they were new. They're excellent cars, and I go through the whole explaining what pieces, because it's new tooling and there is some vintage stuff in the frame and other things, but by far they're a fantastic piece and nice addition to Bachmann's line of tank cars, and neat to see them coming in scale.
Yeah,
these are like billboard reefers to me, that I love collecting these with all the different, like they're not railroads,
right?
So you're getting them for all these different chemical companies and things like that. That it's fun to get them that way. Like, but the HO has the one chocolate. I don't know if I got the chocolate one yet either. I got to see if you got those in stock, Ken, because there were like 4 road names in HO, and I think the chocolate one may be the one I don't have yet. But yeah, those are always fun cars just for the looks, because they're like billboard reefers.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Kind of like you said, that gives some great collectible value, I think. And just to note also about these cars, just like the HO ones, we're offering the prototype specific small or large dome. So following the prototype of the car, if it had the small dome, we have the small dome on the model. If it had the large dome in reality, we have the large dome on the model.
And I knew what that meant. I remember looking that up. I have it in the review, and I explain like what it's something to do with what the chemical or what the commodity is, as to why the domes are different. But now it's gone out of my forehead because too much.
Yeah. So now in On30, this is one I'm pretty excited about because I saw one of these cars in reality last winter. This is the 3-bay hopper, the East Broadtop style 3-bay hopper. Excuse me. we just announced the return of the two-bay hoppers. I believe it was in our 2022 catalog. That's something that we've run in our line before, and it's something that's been very popular, and I'm sure will be again. But in reality, the three bays were actually more prolific than the two bays. There's a ton of these that are still in existence today. One of the interesting things about them is that when the East Broadtop stopped servicing the coal mines, and transitioned into being more of a tourist operation, they actually sold off a ton of these cars to other railroads, other narrow gauge railroads, and they still show up today. The Durango and Silverton runs them. The White Pass and Yukon run them. There's one out in the Sumter Valley runs them. And believe it or not, there's one that actually made it all the way as far as Hawaii that ran on the, or at least it was on the sugarcane train. I don't know if they ever used it.
Oh, wow.
So these are very cool cars that, if you're an East Broadtop modeler, fantastic. If you model a narrow gauge railroad in another part of the U.S. or Canada, then this is equally appropriate for that as well.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think it may have been the sugarcane train in Hawaii. They may have been affected by the Hawaiian fires.
I think they lost their station, unfortunately, and I think this car was
what a shame
as well. Yeah, no, very sad. I think the railroad had been out of operation for a few years, but no less sad, obviously.
Yeah.
And this is a new tool. I've got the little two bay that's been done in On30 before. Mm-hmm. This is that same kind of exterior post sides. It's a very modern looking car for narrow gauge, I think. Yeah,
it's definitely one of the bigger freight cars that ran on 3-foot gauge railroads. It's the design of these cars is visually very similar to the two bays, and there's a good reason for that. The early examples of these were actually built out from two bays. Oh. So when the East Broadtop realized that they needed more capacity than the two bays could hold per car, they actually took them into the shops and they extended the frame and they added more paneling, and you had the three bay.
And are these two packs or single cars?
These are going to be single cars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you do the two packs, it gets a little confusing, but I tell you, the On30 sells so well for us. It's I sometimes I feel like we're the only guys carrying it, but it sells so well. It's amazing. It's great product, and Bachmann really supports the whole On30 line. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
So you guys do really good with that product for sure.
No, we love On30, and narrow gauge railroading is just so cool because it's in a world of its own. There's so much stuff in narrow gauge that you can do that you can't do in standard gauge.
And a lot of people still don't know that On30 runs on HO track.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get into On30. It's not like you need a new track system like some of the other scales. It's just very, very simple.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll run on our easy track with absolutely no problems at all.
Yeah.
And just one final note on these cars is they have loads appropriate to the railroad's use as well. So East Broadtop and Painted on Lettered come with the coal load, and the Durango and Silverton and White Pass come with the stone load, because those cars are used in maintenance service in reality.
Cool. I'm gonna have to get on Rich's case and get us some pricing so we could list these cars. These are beautiful. Very nice.
All right, so in large scale, we're bringing back the Dash 9 conditionally. This is something, these are big models. There's no shying away from the fact that these are fairly expensive models, and for good reason. They're longer than I could fit in the window here, and they come with a ton of features, a ton of details, and they're built for rugged indoor or outdoor use. So what we're doing with this is we're doing a conditional release. So we want to make sure that the market is out there for these models. We're doing the Union Pacific with the modern yellow sill. We're not doing the new Union Pacific scheme. We've had some people asking about that, and the reason being, I believe there might have been one or two painted at this point when we were doing the preparing these for the announcement. There weren't any in that scheme yet, so we didn't have anything to go off of. But we're doing the second most recent scheme, which is the yellow cell. We're doing the Southern Pacific, the iconic post-DNRGW merger scheme. We're doing the CSX YN2, the Bright Future scheme. and we're also doing Canadian National and another BNSF. The BNSF sold really well. We were really happy with the response we got from customers for those. And as I'm sure you, Tony, see all the time in reality, there's a ton of Heritage 2 H2 versions.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And this one, yeah, the first run of these came out in the last year, and I know as they rolled through samples on them, I think a sample went for our garden scale annual that's out now that they worked on one, and one of my reviewers has got a little kid about 10 years old, and he saw this at the St. Louis show and was just had to have one of these, and there were no samples that first round, and it got the better of me. It's so cool because it's G scale, and of course, so I buy from Ken. I'm thinking, well, I'm going to get this kid the Santa Fe one that he wants. That way he and his dad can review it. But if I'm getting it, I really need one too.
Right, exactly.
And so I bought the Union Pacific one for myself, and we've got reviews coming up, and I'll promote this second announcement at the time with that review. But it's gigantic. I mean, the box, when it arrived that day, Ken, and of course, as all your stuff, it was in 2 separate packages, all packed up and nice. They're in these giant red boxes. I mean, I had them shipped down. I was in Texas at the time, so I had them shipped down there, and they show up, and Pamela's like, "What is this? What did you buy? Like, these look like Christmas trees or something. What is it?" I said, "There's trains in them." "How much trains?" I said, "There's 1 locomotive in each box." "No way." So we get it out on the dining room table, and she's just like, "Okay, wow, this has got to stop." I said, "This is so cool." I said, I'm going to build something in the backyard now. But yeah, we've got UP and the Santa Fe coming, and it's an amazing model. I mean, again, my collecting is mostly HO, but I've got a little bit of everything, and these it was just so cool I couldn't help myself. So yeah, I ended up buying 2 of them, and wow, it's a gigantic model. You got to see one to really appreciate it.
Yeah, a lot of people went crazy on this. We actually sold out on some of the first run road numbers, and we're hopefully getting some more in. We're taking pre-orders on them, waiting for them to come over, but really nice stuff. People went crazy for it when it was first coming out. Everybody wanted it. Just and it just keeps on going. Just beautiful engine.
Absolutely.
Do you have an update, Matt, on as far as, I know you say it's conditional, you're taking pre-orders on them now, like what's kind of as far as to motivate or let people know if you're wanting one of these, is there a deadline or? Yeah,
so we don't have a hard deadline, but what I was going to say is that if you want to see this model made, if you want to see a particular road name, put your pre-order into Train World now. Let them know that you want it, so that we know that you're out there and that there's a market for this model.
Yeah, we have all of these listed right now, so you could place your pre-order. If you want to get it made, make sure you put the pre-order in, because if you don't get your pre-order in, then Bachmann's not going to know if they're able to make it or not. So it's really important that you get those pre-orders in. And I tell you, right now it's important more than anything, because I've seen a couple of companies throughout the industry that, or even us, sometimes we have to cancel some things if there's not enough interest in a model. So definitely get your pre-orders in. It's really important.
Absolutely.
And these are 2 different body styles as well. I think that's the one thing that surprised me too. The Santa Fe sample I got, which I would assume would apply to this BNSF as well, because it would have been Santa Fe, have the gull wing cab roof profile, whereas the rest of the road names have the usual angle. And I think that gull wing I would think the back end would have been just as wide, the radiator section, but as I recall, it was for going through some coal mine like in New Mexico or something. They had a clearance issue.
And I think it had something to do with some tunnel profiles as well.
Yeah. And that they had them, Santa Fe at least had those built with that gull wing style, but both cab styles are available for those wondering on this.
And like you said, that the H2 BNSF one here will come with the gull wing style, whereas the others will come with the standard style.
What an awesome piece! Yeah.
And Justin is asking, hopefully you can make parts available for the Dash 9 soon. I'm not sure if you have parts, but a lot of G-scalers like the Kit Bash, stuff like that.
Sure.
What else? A couple of Dreyfus questions. Are you going to make a DCC ready, like a more cost-effective model, like a DCC ready?
It's certainly not impossible for the future. It's not something that we have planned right now. Like I said before, the DCC and sound models will work on DC just as well as they'll work on DC. They're dual mode, and you have the advantage of being able to use the sound features in DC as well. So depending on the input into the control dial, you'll be able to activate different sounds like the whistle, the bell, the chuffing sequences. It runs just as smoothly as it does on DCC. But no, we don't have any standard DC or DCC ready versions in the pipeline at this point.
Okay. And a lot of Thomas fans going crazy. Just so you know, Matt's not going to steal Doug's thunder, so we'll do all the Thomas stuff on Thomas Tuesday of I think it's the 10th. So Doug will make a special appearance, and he'll be going over some Bachmann Thomas stuff. So sorry that Matt disappointed you.
The one thing I will say now, the only thing I will say is we have some very cool stuff coming. So it'll be an exciting discussion.
And I saw a cool question. They want to turn the Dreyfus Hudson tooling to use for a Thomas a model Connor. So
we've seen that one.
We got to ask Christian and Doug about that one. So those Thomas fans, they're so creative.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so sticking in large scale, we're introducing some new freight cars. This is the single dome tank car. It's very similar to our HO scale single dome tank car. It's a 1930s to 40s era design. It's some of the last of the riveted styling before they went to welded cars. We're going to be offering this in Shell, Quaker State, Texaco, and then in a fanciful North Pole and Southern Christmas scheme, as all of our Christmas stuff tends to be in, which is for Mrs. Claus's Christmas Punch.
North Pole and Southern. That's
awesome, yeah.
Very good.
Is that new tooling? Is that new tooling on this one?
So this is going to be existing tooling from the same predecessor as the
Dash. Yeah.
Yep. But it's also going to be 129 scale like the Dash 9. So this is going to be scaled to standard gauge for standard G scale track. And I think we've just got one more product, and that'll just about wrap it up. So this is our auto reversing track system. This is something we've had a variation of in HO scale, and I believe in N scale as well. This is something that we're now offering in large scale. It works a little bit differently to the smaller versions. It's not actually a track system, so to speak. It's an optical system. So what it does is you have a sensor that you can put in. You can see the one on the left and the one on the right there. You can install those up to I believe it's 30 feet, but don't quote me on that. I'd have to look back in the details for the product. But you can place them at a pretty good distance apart from each other. And what it'll do is when the train runs over it, the sensor on it sees that something's blocking the track. It sends a signal to the special controller that comes with it, reverses the direction, sends the train back in the opposite direction. And what this is great for is, say if you want to run a streetcar in your layout or in your yard, and you don't want to be bothered with having to keep it running and monitor it while you're running your mainline trains, you can just set it up with this system and have it run back and forth. For the Christmas displays, it's also really handy because if you have say like a mantelpiece that you want to run a G-scale streetcar on, you can set that all up, set up the auto reversing system, and it'll just run on its own back and forth until you tell it not to. And with the auto reversing controller that comes with it, you can actually set not only the speed of the train, But you can also set the dwell time that it has at each end. So if you have a station at each end and you want the train not to just hit back the other way, you can set it to sit there for a few seconds or so, and then it'll head back in the opposite direction.
That's very cool. What's nice on that too is, as you said, for a display or Christmas setup, G scale so big, unless you're going around the tree, this is a nice. You could have it looping through about any size scene.
Right.
And I think there a couple of G scale streetcars. One is even, I thought there was some you had some.
Yeah, let me bring it up. But
yeah, we may not have it. I don't think I have it because it wasn't a new announcement in this brochure, so it may not be on the slides. We announced that in our catalog at the beginning of the year, but I do have the brochure, which we did put it on the back to kind of go along with it.
Yeah, there they are. I was going to say one was kind of blue and it's a regular, but then there's a holiday decorated one. So yeah, those would be perfect. That you could set that up and it could basically wander through all your packages and things down by the tree or wherever. What a neat setup, what a neat system.
Absolutely, and these cars, just to note, these will actually be coming out very soon. These are very close to delivery.
And does that auto reverser? It's an all-in-one. If somebody wants that, you don't need another power. It is the power pack.
It is the power pack.
It does the whole thing.
The only caveat with that is if you are running it as part of a larger layout, you have to have that track section isolated from anything else to make it work properly. Because otherwise, you got different power feeds. It's just not gonna function. But it's a very cool, and we had it set up at the National Train Show in Texas, and we had I think we had a trolley running on it, and we had one of our speeders running on it, and they just went back and forth all day. It was the system's very it worked well.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Very neat. And Tony, I know we touched up on it, but you have a great review coming in your magazine on their new Hudson.
Yes, as I mentioned, the Hudson it'll be the cover of December's Model Railroad News. I think I'm always an issue or two. One's coming, one I'm working on, one's going to press. This is going to be December's issue, so it will be out in about a month's time. So first part of November, and the Hudson's on the cover, and then this is the review. And as I mentioned, you see all the insides and the electrical pickup and by the numbers, the typical as we do with all our review things. And
how can they subscribe to a Model Railroad News magazine to catch this Bachmann article?
You can go to shop.whiteriverproductions.com, and all of White River's publications, including Model Railroad News, is there. The new large-scale annual that's got coverage on that -9 is there. We have an On30 annual that the company does each year that's coming up before too long as well. So all sorts of things. Check that out at shop.whiteriverproductions.com.
And I did see a question in here. Do you sell the KC shirt? So I'm not even kidding. That wasn't a joke. I did get that question. So you should probably think about throwing that up online.
I think, and this one's not as popular. I don't know. Can you see I've got Cook.
Oh, whoa!
Yeah.
Turn around again. So, whoa!
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sure there are some people out there who would pay for that special edition.
I think it does not sell as well as the Kelsey and the Mahomes jerseys. I don't have figures on it, but I don't think I'm third best seller at best, behind probably Mahomes and Kelsey. But yeah, so I don't know where I got this now. Yeah, with the Cook, I'm forgetting now if someone got that for me or what, because I don't remember.
Who knows? If you're standing in a crowd, Taylor Swift may, misplace Kelsey.
Travis,
Yeah.
Well, and I saw, he was wheeling around, I think, in an old Chevy convertible. I'm thinking, man, I got that red Cadillac out in the driveway, and I know the good barbecue joints in town. I got all these model trains. Whatever, I'm just saying.
Very cool. Well, we're looking forward to this article. It looks really nice. I mean,
it's
this
a
picture,
beautiful model. Yeah.
Matt,
The
did you
photography
take
is really
this
great as
picture,
well.
or did Tony did?
Oh, we do that's all.
That's nice.
Yeah, you guys definitely showed it off really nicely.
Boy, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Cool. And the packaging, I don't know if we touched up on this packaging, just really nice, brand new packaging from Bachmann. Really nice artwork on that.
It is, if you're looking for a Christmas gift and you want something impressive, I mean, the box, this wrapped up under the tree, it is such a cool package.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is the new for the TCS, DCC on board TCS. Wow. But it beautiful, came in perfect. It's in the plastic clamshell as they are, but yeah, very nice. Very nice.
Beautiful. All right. Lots of good stuff, Matt. I tell you.
Absolutely.
I don't know how he keeps up with it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and follow them on Facebook. Look at Bachmann on Facebook. As I say, Matt is always posting pictures of the new stuff. I see the new paint schemes. He puts those out, and you get to see those. You get to see, like, that coil car was his new model Monday recently, that you get to see sneak peeks on that. So if you're on Facebook, make sure you're following Bachmann Trains.
He does a great job with all the product, and this was just some of the announcements. And what's crazy is there's just so many pre-orders from Bachmann and new announcements and even new arrivals coming in. But right now we have like over 300 items just on pre-order from Bachmann, and a lot of amazing stuff we didn't even talk about. I mean, these Amtrak Acela is going to be a home run. Just so many different items and so many scales. Bachmann does N scale, HO scale, On30, O scale too, Williams, which we didn't even touch on, and G scale. So they really run the gamut. And as Christmas time approaches, Tony, we didn't even, we did talk about Elf on the Shelf, but Bachmann has so many great starter sets to get into the hobby. Bachmann does a great job making train sets affordable, getting young kids into the hobby. And what better way to say I love you than a Bachmann train set for Christmas,
Absolutely. And I think this year, in the HO, there's that Boy Scout train set, I think is in this year's catalog. But there's always a great selection of them. You can go from basic DC up to DCC and sound equipped. And actually, there's Thomas train sets too in multiple scales. So, but yeah, I mean, a Bachmann train set is a fantastic Christmas gift.
Yeah. And one thing I guess, where was I going with that? Lost my thought. I had something good.
There's just too many good looking.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. The stuff's just catching my eye right and left too. Like, oh, I'd forgotten about that. Oh yeah, I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
That reminds me, the HO, the Queen of Steam. You had this beautiful, picture and advertisement on it. Just gorgeous. That's brand new. That just came in stores. So really neat. The Class J. That's something that just hit the shelves. Tony, you got to be out on the lookout for that one. A lot of people talking about the Class J because they're seeing it and everything and getting ready for that. So.
Yeah, the real thing is actually the 611 is going to be starting excursions in Virginia this coming weekend. So it's very timely that our models now come out and is available once again. And what we've done in this release is we in addition to offering a couple of the previous schemes, we're also offering the updated version of the paint scheme, which is when you were saying the Queen of Steam. That's actually its other nickname. The Spirit of Roanoke is painted under the cab on the real thing now. And so we've updated our excursion era model to have the Spirit of Roanoke on the side, so it matches how the prototype looks now.
And that's HO scale. What is it? DCC and sound?
DCC sound value, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that comes with Soundtrack's economy installed.
And how about now we were looking at Ken, you can't show me the website because I'm gonna start. I feel like I'm wanting to click on things like pre-order. Ken, click on that and pre-order for me. Log into my account and get that ordered. I was looking at the G scale Jeep 40s. Is there any update on?
No, so they're still in development right now. We should have artwork published in the 2024 catalog. That's again something we're shooting for late 2024.
We're showing the HO version, Tony.
Right. That's why it's like, oh yeah, I wanted to ask about those. What's the
Yeah, no, nothing I can show you right now. But they are being worked on, and like I said, we're shooting for a later 2024 reveal.
Actually, you had it. Did you have a pre-production sample at Amherst?
Yeah, we do have one
Yeah.
sample
Okay.
floating around that's making the rounds of the shows. That was actually custom painted by one of our product development employees.
Oh,
Really
cool.
talented guy. Yeah, as I said, that's the only one we have right now. Everything else is still very much under production.
And I know you showed the BL2 recently, that blue, the molded plastic HO one. Any updates on where those are at? Did everything look good and it's heading to production?
Yeah, nothing right now that I can show you. We should be getting painted samples in the near future. I would assume so. Keep watching for that new model Monday, because as soon as those come in, that's going to be first priority. Because I know a lot of people are excited about those.
Very cool.
I think you're the first for BL2 and HO. Is that right, Tony? Or
no,
there have been a couple before.
There have been
Really?
before. This is the most. Oh yeah, this is the most modern though. In fact, the new HO collector that is coming out right now has AHM's BL2 that was introduced in like '63 and made by Mahano in Yugoslavia. And so it's covered there. And then yes, there was a proto, but it's been years and years ago. So lots of excitement over this.
When I asked Tony if it's been done, it's a loaded question because Tony goes back 100 years when you pull it by a string. Bachmann's going to be a real BL2.
This is true. Yes, I don't think it'll be much like that one, but you can read the whole history on it in the new HO collector. Fourth quarter edition has the old, and I have every road name on display of the old BL2s. Cool. And yeah, they're chunks of plastic compared to what this will be. So I'm very excited.
I had one of those AHM ones when I was a kid, and I remember, Yugoslavia was already long gone at that point. But I remember looking at the bottom and being like, Yugoslavia? What the heck?
Yeah, indeed. No, it was one of the first that they did. It's now going on 60 years old. Wow.
I left.
Oh yeah, there it is.
My magazine came in today.
I don't have mine yet.
Press. Really?
Yes, mine didn't. Yeah, I was at the post office today expecting they'd be in
because I got more juice than Tony Cook.
Yes, you got it ahead of me, and I already had email. That's how I know is I'll get an email. Somebody said, "Hey, on page whatever." I'm like, "Oh, it must be out." Yeah, the BL2 is in there, and all the ones that were done way back when, and it's a.
Oh, here it is. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, the bulbous BL2 because it looks like it's got a glandular problem.
Wow. Yeah, actually, it's funny. Dom, I'm getting lost here, but Dom is saying he remembers the BL2 from the 1960s.
Oh, and they were around forever. They sold that for about 20 some years, and at its time when it was new, it was nothing special. So by the time they were still selling it by 1980, it was definitely outpaced. But this Bachmann one, that is we talked about that our last show with Matt on this model. That the attention's really been on this coming out. I'm eager to see it. So always so much neat Bachmanns.
And I need to put a rumor to bed here. This is we've had people asking, did you use the lifelike tooling? Is this exactly the same as the previous one? No, this is from the ground up. This is a brand new model. What may very well have happened is the closest BL2 to Bachmann to us in reality is the one at the B&O Museum in Baltimore, which of course is where Lifelike was based. So it's very possible that the same prototype was used for both ours and their development, which is where you might be seeing some similarities. But I can assure you, it is a totally new model from the ground up.
And looking at the tooling on it, because at the time it was a landmark piece. 89, it's the first Proto 2000 release, and it was considered just spectacular. But looking at those early shots you had on yours, your handrails are much more to scale. Overall, the general look of this Bachmann one is a finer piece. It's amazing that other one has not been back on the market in years. So for the odd duck this is, and that's always popular to rail fans and modelers alike, this BL2 is a very attractive piece.
And we're actually doing a slightly different body variation to the lifelike version as well.
Wow.
So theirs was the one that had the handrails up the front. I'm sure there are some other differences as well, but that's the one I can think of offhand. Whereas we're doing the other variation that didn't have that particular feature.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And you guys actually did it in Williams as well.
We did, yeah.
They had a Williams BL2, and that did very well, and that was totally unique for O scale. So I think because they've already had that in O scale, it should be a much easier process for them to really knock the train out of the park for HO scale. So that's
you have those killer deals, Ken, as you do on so many things. I have a Missouri Pacific Williams O BL2 that I bought from you a handful of years ago. And again, it was one of those like, wow, I have I don't need that. Well, I've got to have it. And yeah, I have that neat blue and gray Mopac from you guys.
That was a good deal. We were selling O gauge engines at that time for $100, and people were going wild. It was hundreds to thousands of engines just going out. It was just
it got me. It got me a number of times. I have a stack of. There's probably a closet somewhere with Williams boxes with the Train World outer box stacked up. Yep.
There you go. But lots of good stuff tonight. I tell you, a lot to cover. We got to do this more often, Matt and Tony.
Absolutely. I love talking Bachmann stuff because there's so much, all the different scales, the different eras. We talked from 19th century stuff to blistering new, Canada and Amtrak passenger stuff. That's part of that fun of breaking open the Bachmann catalog. So there's just so much. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, Matt, Tony, it was a pleasure having you both on tonight. Thank you so much for joining us and participating and getting this show together. We really appreciate it. I know a lot of people out there enjoyed this episode. And you could get all your Bachmann trains at trainworld.com. Make sure you pre-order the pre-order items so Bachmann knows what to make and get them going there. And don't forget to subscribe for Model Railroad News. Get that subscription going. HO Collector, Model Train Resource, all those fun stuff. And who knows, maybe Tony one day could start selling his KC shirt. But, so thank you, everyone out there, for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Ken. Awesome show. Matt, always good to see you. Always neat stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Ken.
You got it. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.